There are certain areas on our planet where there are electromagnetic anomalies, space-time distortion phenomena, and other strange phenomena, after which airplanes and ships disappear. These areas are known as the triangles of death, although their shape is not exactly that of a triangle. According to biologist Ivan Sanderson and his collaborators, a group of geologists, meteorologists, physicists, and astronomers from Situ Society for the Investigation of the Unexplained in New Jersey, there are 12 zones of major geomagnetic disturbances on the planet. 2 of them are at the poles and most of them are in the sea. 5 of them are located between the 30th and 36th parallels of north latitude, and 5 others between the 30th and 36th parallels of south latitude. To the north are the Bermuda Triangle, the area in the Alboran Sea up to the Canary Islands, the zone of Afghanistan that reaches the Persian Gulf, occupying a part of land, the Devil's or Dragon's Triangle, and finally the one close to the Aleutian Islands. To the south we find a triangle in Argentina and Patagonia, the one on the east coast of Africa, the one located in the Indian Ocean, another one almost over New Zealand in Australia, and south of Easter Island. In all these places, really inexplicable events occur, which are similar among them, as, for example, the compasses do not point to the magnetic north, but to the geographical one. Planes and ships disappear, or the crew disappears without a trace and the ship remains intact. In the radars appear strange objects that soon disappear, and around them legends are told about mermaids or other strange beings that inhabit the depths. They are also considered hot zones because UFO sightings are very frequent. Some flights that have passed through these areas have arrived incredibly early. There are planes that have arrived so far ahead of schedule that it can only be justified if they have had a tailwind of 800 kilometers per hour, which is impossible. It seems as if they had entered a mysterious black hole and managed to get out unscathed. As in the case of the National Airlines Boeing 727, which was about to land and was therefore within the radar screen of the control tower. It suddenly disappeared for 10 minutes from the screen, then reappeared and landed without any problem. According to the pilot and crew, they had not noticed anything strange. Just a small detail, the time on the passengers' watches and on the aircraft's time instruments was 10 minutes behind the actual time. In the Triangle of Silence, located between Majorca and Denia, there have been a large number of disturbances and disappearances, such as that of Captain Benoul's of the Air Force, who went out one morning to fish and was never heard from again. His boat was found with no one on board. If it had only been this case, it would not have been given greater importance, but to it we must add many others, such as, for example, one of the Grumman seaplanes of the fleet of the Spanish Armed Forces, which in 1969, while performing control and tracking work on the Mediterranean coast, disappeared mysteriously on July 1st of that same year in the Alboran Sea, off the coast of Almeria. The last communication it issued was, "We are heading for a big sun." An intensive search was carried out by army planes and ships, but to no avail, the passengers were not found. According to Josep Guiaro, director of the magazine Planeta Desconocido, in the Air Army magazine it was catalogued as an unexplained event, and in it is mentioned that 2 months before, another plane with the same characteristics had also disappeared. In total, 14 people. Another reason why they have become so popular is due to the many books written about them, especially about the Bermuda Triangle. In this area, the case of the Cyclop, a U.S. Navy coal carrier with 308 men on board, which mysteriously disappeared in 1918, is well known. Another very famous event occurred in 1945, when a squadron of 5 Avenger torpedo planes, equipped with good navigation equipment, left Florida on a routine mission. Everything seemed normal until suddenly, after an hour and a half of flight, Lieutenant Carlos G. Taylor informed the control tower that they were lost and could not distinguish the surface of the ocean. From the tower, they were told to head west. But the officer's reply was even more surprising than his first statement. "We don't know where west is. It all seems false, strange. We are not sure of any course. Even the ocean doesn't seem to be the same as usual." As radio contact was interrupted, a large twin-engine seaplane was sent to their aid, but it mysteriously disappeared. 6 planes and 27 men disappeared without a trace in a few hours. No rational explanation was found. In all, 129 planes have disappeared. Some were lost while they were talking by radio with their bases or their destinations. Others sent strange messages, saying that their instruments were not working, that their compasses were spinning crazily, that the sky was suddenly yellow and hazy during a clear day, and that the ocean did not look normal, did not know and describe what they were seeing. In this area, there is also sometimes clear air turbulence, a phenomenon that, if it is very intense and lasts too long, can cause airplanes to break up and explode into pieces over the sea. In 1966, the salvage tug Good News was suddenly surrounded by a very thick fog and tossed by rough seas. The compass and electrical instruments broke down immediately, but when the ship emerged from the mysterious mist, the sea was calm and the instruments resumed normal operation. The same thing happened in 1972 to pilot Chuck Wakely when he was flying between Bimini and Miami. He thought he saw the wings of his plane become translucent, and within minutes the cockpit was flooded by a strange light. The plane changed direction without him being able to avoid it. Eventually the light faded and the instruments returned to normal operation. The Japanese equivalent of the Bermuda Triangle would be the Dragon Triangle or Devil's Triangle, located in the western Pacific near the Japanese coast, although the boundaries are not very clear. This sea, considered cursed, was already famous before the Bermuda Triangle. It is said to have claimed dozens of victims since ancient times. This area has always caused respect and fear among Japanese fishermen. In 1967, the crews of 3 merchant ships saw something resembling phosphorescent underwater wheels, like luminous bands that moved rapidly beneath the surface of the waters. According to Japanese legend, there is a realm beneath the Devil's Sea where time stood still. In 1955, the Japanese government sent an expedition to conduct research in the area, which included a group of scientists collecting data as their ship, the Keo Maru No. 5, crossed the Devil's Sea. We do not know how the research ended, as this ship, along with all its crew, disappeared engulfed by the very mystery it was intended to study. Radio communications have always been affected in this area. Suddenly dangerous whirlpools, huge waves, or fog banks are formed. In World War II, although the United States had the best technology of the time, the magnetic detonators of their torpedoes did not work properly, turning against the very ships that had fired them. A common feature is the lack of distress calls from the crew. Rather, they report the opposite, that all is well. There are several hypotheses about these phenomena. One of them is the existence of dimensional portals, capable of transporting ships and airplanes to times other than our own, to other dimensions or to other places. Perhaps the most credible theory is that of the existence of a very powerful magnetic field. Although this would only explain some of the observed phenomena, such as the malfunctioning of the onboard instruments. There are many theories and little evidence. We can only affirm that in these points strange things happen, and that there are a large number of disappearances of both ships and airplanes. This does not mean that in other parts of the world there are not also disappearances, maybe even more. What happens is that they are less known and have not been given so much importance. It seems incredible that currently, with the technology we have, we are not able to discover the mysteries that keep the depths of the ocean, and that disappearances continue to occur, not only in these 12 points but throughout the world. Maybe one day we will be able to unravel these mysteries.